Hello viewers, my name is Philemon Bates, Senior Moderator, Cador, and welcome to Cador Digital Program. And today I have a number of guests with me here to discuss. And to my far left, we have Simon Kilonzo, who is a Director of ACM Solutions. Welcome to the program. Next to him, seated here, is Ricky Koech, who is also Senior Moderator and Head of Activities at Cador. Next to me on my right is Daktari Kieng, who is also the Director of Cador. And the lady is in the house, the only lady in the house, Mercy, who is also a journalist. She will be also partaking time to discuss with us this particular topic. So today we have a very interesting topic to discuss, and the topic of the day is efficiency in a school fee payment is directly proportional to its academic mean grade. So that is the topic. Just to break it down so that our viewers can understand, is effectiveness of paying school fees really is direct proportional to the mean score or the marks that a student get. So, Daktari, I just want you to kick off on this particular topic. Just state the problem of this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Philemon, and welcome viewers. This is a very interesting topic. As we say that efficiency in a school's fee payment is directly proportional to the academic mean grade. And I would start by saying that we have 80% of our schools are performing average, and 20% are really performing very well. And when we look at the relationship between the two, we can relate it in terms of the school fee. So the question we are asking ourselves today is that is results related to, school fees payment, or actually this relationship between school fees payment and academic results. This one, I would also wish to, as we begin this topic, I want to talk about the unfortunate reality that we see in our schools. It's also related to this, that we say that in most cases, we realize that parents support the schools that are doing well, ignoring those schools that are not doing well, as they wait for these schools that are not doing well to do well first so that they can support. And that is something very interesting. So the question for today is are the schools that are performing, are parents paying school fees in those schools? Do we have those schools that are not performing, yet parents are paying school fees very well? So there is the question, the 80-20% rule comes here, where we want to find out that do we have schools that their payment of school fees is above 80%, yet the results is below 30%? Do we have schools that their results is below 30% and their payment of the school fees is above 80%? That is the question. The relationship between school fee payment and academic results. Thank you.
Thank you, Daktari, for that opening remarks and telling us exactly that. I just want to bring you, Simon, into this and probably share a bit of your experience of this. Based on what Daktari has shared on this particular topic, is this true? How true is this statement? Citing from your own experience if you have, and so that our viewers can understand. Simon?
Thank you very much, Mr. Bet, for this opportunity. And viewers, and Mr. Bet, I tend to agree with this statement that school fees payment is directly proportional to academic performance. Because you realize that, when parents pay school fees in a school, it also means that the school has got money to be able to operate with. Remember that we've got schools that have got, we call them PTA teachers.
Yes.
They're employed by the school, right? It also means that schools need libraries. They also need laboratories. They also need lab equipment, all these things. So you find that if school fees has not been paid, okay, and which is unfortunate, of course. Recently, we had a situation whereby the government was telling schools that they should not send students home because they want to clear the school fees, whereas the government is not funding that school fees. So you realize that it becomes a challenge when fees has not been paid and the schools are expected to be able to perform. But on the other hand, if you look at institutions, because also parents tend to if let me give an example of a school for everyone to be able to understand. If you look at school like national schools like Kapsabet Boys, for example, if you take a child there, you'll be so prompt to be able to pay school fees. You're very prompt. You just pay because but you realize these schools perform best. Not because that the kids who go there are worse than the ones who are in a local school, but also because the amount of support they're getting is very high, which also results to people viewing the school as being at another level. So I would support it by saying that it is true. If we expect them to be able to perform, then we must also be willing to be able to support them financially.
Okay, thank you, Simon, for that. Just picking from you, we have parents and who have tendencies of not paying the school fees in full. Ricky, I just want to understand, because you're a parent as well, and I want to believe that you do pay your school fees. Do these parents who really don't pay school fees on time, do they really do that purposely, or do they don't have the capacity to pay their school fees on time? Ricky.
Thank you, Mr. Bate. Yes, there are times that we can attribute the tendency not to pay fees to laxity from the parents' side, because fee payment is a responsibility, and parents, we have that responsibility to pay for the fees for our students so that we avoid interruptions in school. It is very disturbing to see kids or pupils and students being sent home, for example, on weekly basis. They are you can say week 3, you have some students being sent home, week 4, week 5, the students are losing. And sometimes the parents are able and they have that capacity to pay that fees. But I believe that it is just that lack of motivation and the importance of parents not knowing that they are losing out on this. You see, the topic today is talking about efficiency, not just paying, but efficient payment. Efficiency means paying at the right time. So actually, it's not just paying, but paying at the right time. And the parents should know that paying at the right time is key to the success of the student or people.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Mercy, just want to bring you into this conversation so that you can also share your opinion, your thought on this. Daktari, Simon, and Ricky have shared a bit of and agree with the topic that indeed paying the school fees on time will improve the performance. It's direct proportional. My question is, does it apply to entire school? What happened to these individuals that really perform very well in school, but at the same time they have challenges, their parents have challenges paying the school fees? Not that they don't want to, but the parents have really challenges. How do you attribute that? How do you position that?
Okay, thank you so much, Bet. Well, it has been a concern mostly for our schools here in Kenya. You even see a student who scored maybe 450 marks but still don't afford totally. You will go to that home and you will see they don't even have meals to even afford meals to eat. You'll see such students at times even go to town, take a poster like what we do for mostly joking, but to them they really need those school fees. So yes, at times parents really don't have that money, but they have a bright student. So you see around 20%, maybe average 20% of those bright students, you'll find around 10% of those students don't have fees. So it really affects the students themselves as students. Because I'm bright, I need to go to Alliance Girls High School, but I don't have that fee. Yes, it is an issue.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that, Mercy. And Daktari, I'm trying to understand, and I want to believe that our viewers really want to understand this. How is paying school fee related to academics? If we can go by what Mercy is telling us, that we have students, bright students, who really are doing well in school, but their parents have no means of ensuring that they pay the school fees on time. But Daktari, I want to understand, how is this, payment and academic related anyway? I just want you to really explain at length so that we can understand.
Yeah, thank you so much, Philemon. I believe this is a natural requirement that we need to harvest where we have planted. That you cannot harvest from where you have not planted.
Yes.
That natural law demands that you work and then you receive. And so academic results is like harvest, whereby you go to your farm where you have worked for all these years, you have worked on the land, and it's now time to produce. You will also realize that every time we harvest the results, academic results, every time we wait for results and we expect the national, the Minister of Education to release the results, all of us are waiting. The schools are waiting, parents are waiting, everyone is eager to receive results because it's like an harvest. And what are we harvesting? We are harvesting what we have done all this time, the whole year. Remember that academic results is actually achieved through a success process, whereby we begin preparing learners from the first day as they join, for example, a candidate class like Standard 8, or for example, Form 4 class. So you realize that we begin preparing these learners from the first day, having them participate in goal-setting retreats, having them participate in coaching programs, participating in revision programs, maybe, for example, having examiners visiting these schools and talking to these learners, taking teachers for exposure programs, and many other things. Now, when we relate, as you ask me the question, what is the relationship between academic results and payment of school fees? Payment of school fees is actually the price that you are giving. Because when I pay school fees, it facilitates the process of achieving excellence. So payment of the school fees this money will go to food, it will go to maybe those exposure programs, it will go to teacher motivation programs, it might even go to increasing the number of materials for learners, for example, having learners to get even information from other people other than the teachers. And you realize this is what we call school fees. When you talk about school fees, it's actually what necessitates the work to be done so that we achieve the results. So the truth remains that academic results and payment of school fees is related. For example, you will go to the top schools around this country, and you will find that every school that is performing, 80% of the school fees has been paid. Just go to the schools where you find parents not paying school fees, and every time they are in parents meeting, they will always announce the parents that you see for this year we have maybe 7 million, 10 million of school fees not paid. You realize that in that school they have a mean of 3.5, 4.2. They cannot go beyond 4.
Yes.
Because parents are either unwilling to pay the school fees, or actually they have no information or motivation to do that. As I respond to what Mercy said, I will say that whether the parents are willing or unwilling to pay the school fees, whether they don't have the money or they have the money, the fact remains that the school fees payment will always be directly proportional to the academic results. Whether the parent is willing to pay, whether they have the money or not, it remains the same.
Simon, what I'm getting from Daktari is that if a parent is paying school fees effectively and on time, then success is automatic.
Yes.
So my question to you, if my parent can afford to pay school fees on time, why should I work hard as an individual, as a student? Why should I? Because you see, paying these school fees means now really I'm going to pass automatic. Why should a student really study? My question to you, is it automatic when a parents commit and fulfill he or her responsibility of paying school fees on time? Is it an automatic pass to the student?
Well, thank you so much,
Yes.
Bet, for that question, and I think that's a very pertinent question.
Yes.
Because around people or viewers leave this discussion feeling that if their parents pay the school fees, automatically the children are going to be able to perform. Because there's an analogy I want to be able to give, but just before I give that, allow me to digress a little bit and talk about those parents maybe are not able to pay school fees.
All right.
I want to thank well-wishers like banks and corporations and those institutions normally come out to be able to support those children who are bright and needy. Because the truth is that as much as there are those who actually have done well in the exams and they didn't have money, we have always had these scholarships like Wings to Fly and other scholarships that have enabled children who had done well and they didn't have school fees to be able to go to school. Now that the school fees will be paid, or maybe parents are working so hard to make sure that the children are staying in school, is it automatic they're going to be able to pass the exams? The answer is no. It is not automatic. Why? Because if you think of this, there's an example that we normally use when we are talking to parents and students of a cow, the cow owner and the keeper of the cow. Okay, so when you talk about the school fees being paid, it's like the cow owner making sure that the cow keeper is doing his work, for example, right? The cow owner is doing everything to provide for the cow, and the cow keeper is also doing everything to make sure that the cow is okay. But that does not mean that automatically the cow is good to be able to bring milk. It may be a wrong breed, okay? It can be that traditional breed
Right.
that can be able to produce milk.
Yes.
So no matter how much food you give to that cow, I'm not trying to blame the students who are wrong breed. I'm just giving this as an analogy.
Yes.
No matter how much food you give to this cow, as long as the wrong breed, okay, meaning that it has got the wrong mindset, it's not willing to be able to produce the milk, it's not ready to produce the milk, no matter how much you try to take care of it, unless the cow does its part to be able to produce the milk, that's going to be able to happen.
Okay.
So it also means that the student also and the pupil have got a responsibility of making sure that they are actually producing the milk.
All right.
Yes.
Daktari,
Yes.
do you have something to say about that?
Yeah, I support what Simon is saying, that it's
Yes,
true
yes.
that it is not automatic that when the parent is paying school fee, it is automatic that the child will perform.
Yes.
That is coming to an individual level.
All right.
That is when we come to an individual level and look at the individual child and ask ourselves whether when their parents are paying school fees, are they really doing well? Well, I agree with him. By the way, the truth is, through the research that the Kenya Centers of Academicians has conducted, we realize that there are students actually who work extra hard. Their parents pay 100% of the fee, but they are still failing in class, in national exams. No matter how much they put, the effort they put, and the parents are struggling to make this sure that this student is supported. They are even in big schools.
They even change schools from a local school
to another school.
All right.
Still nothing changes.
But nothing changes.
Okay.
The question of today, the topic of today takes the general view
All right.
that surely when parents in a school setup are paying school fees, when majority of the parents, or actually 100%, 80% of the parents are paying school fees, definitely results will improve.
All right.
Though when we come to individual level, we may find one or two people one or two learners whose parents are paying school fees, yes, but they are not doing well. Remember, we have learners who have different talents, who might not really do well academically, but generally 80%, that this statement will always be true.
Okay.
And I would want to say that if whether also the parents paying school fees, majority of parents paying school fees in a particular school will make results automatic, I will say yes. I will say yes in this sense. If in a particular school, 80% of the parents are paying school fees very well,
Yes.
there is no way results will not improve unless we come back to the individual level. But generally, there is no way the school will not improve, because my question is, what is the money doing? The money is going to change results. I mean, the teachers, by the way, are just, they are like caretakers of a cow. When you give them what is required, teachers will always make sure that this amount goes to do the right thing by changing results, by motivating students, by motivating the teachers, by even inviting parents to educate parents so that they can understand their roles and many other things, educating and mentoring the student counselors and many other things.
Okay.
So I believe on a general term level, we will realize that there is no way a school can have 80% school fee payment and have 20% results.
Okay.
That is what I believe.
So, Mr. Bet, just to be able to question what Dr. is saying. So does that mean that those schools that are failing because there's a problem with school fees payment?
80%.
All right.
80% truth. Unless there is a serious issue, like for example in discipline or other serious cases. But that is on a very minimal case. But when you look at it generally, as I'm talking about this, I say 80% of schools that are not performing have a problem with support from the parents.
Right.
Yes, 80%.
The owner of the car is not providing.
The owner of the cow is not concerned. They believe that the children belong to the government.
Thank you very much. We are talking,
Mercy looks like.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
generally the way he's saying,
Yes.
general intake of that
All right.
topic.
Yes.
Yes, I agree. 80%. If students are being admitted, it's not they don't check how much can these parents pay for you or you, so they admit you to Alliance Girls. They will check your grade. So if my grade is A, you are B. If you are a billionaire, I'm not a billionaire. So if these billionaires, 80% of them pays these school fees, it will cater for him. You will see they are not even sent home so much.
Yes.
They'll be in school studying.
All right.
And but on my personal level,
right.
I got assistant, you got a D+.
Yes.
We are in the same school.
Yes.
We don't pay more fees, but I decide, sasa shule sasa, it's a personal choice.
All right.
I will make that choice. I got a D+. Can I just try my best? My parents don't have money. My parents they don't afford these things. Can I try my best to score an A and go to university? But for you, the other side, kwetu hatuna pesa, blah blah blah. Or if my dad is rich, I came to this place, I cannot study, I'll have a business. So yes, I agree. If 80% of students pay school fees, it will relate to those. But on an individual level, it's a choice you make, a personal choice you make as a student out there. Make that choice and pass your exams. Enda nyumbani.
Thank you, Mercy, for that, Dr. Simon. Ricky, we are talking about a huge responsibility of a parent paying the school fees on time. Is it the only responsibility of a parent to ensure that the student or their kids really perform in school? Are there other responsibilities that really accompany this one huge responsibility, Ricky? Because some parents in the past, we've had this, that as long as mimi nimelipa school fees, that is it. So Ricky, what do you think? What do you say about that?
Yeah, being a parent is a big responsibility. And in fact, parent has been represented as an acronym, Rent. So the first P is provide. You need to provide. And provision here is you provide fees. You see, it's interesting. Even external users, the suppliers of textbooks in schools, the suppliers of food, they look at how they're able to recover their money. And it's through the main collection account of the school, which is the fee. The second thing is, after P is A.
Yes.
A, you need to be there for the people or your kid. You need to
Be available.
be available. You need to have time. Availability is time. So offering that time for your student or people is able to improve the marks.
Right.
You see, the topic today is represented scientifically. It has been proven scientifically that fee payment efficiency is directly proportional to success. Number 3 is R. You need to be responsible. Responsibility comes with honoring your responsibility as a parent to pay fees. And then you need to encourage the kid. You need to encourage and motivate. You are the main cheerleader for the students or pupils. And then we have N. You nurture. You need to nurture them religiously, spiritually, emotionally, so that you empower the students to achieve results. Finally, you need to teach. You are a teacher. The student is only in school 2 months in a year.
Right.
You are with him at home for 5 months or 4. You need to be the teacher when he's not at school. So it's not only fee payment.
All right.
There are these responsibilities that sum up and empower the kid to perform.
Thank you, Ricky, for that. I think you really put it very well that parents have other huge responsibilities, and you really break it down that the word parents alone really tell its all, right? Yes. So I think parents who are watching, the students who are watching, you also have a responsibility. Mercy, now that you're still young, you can relate well with these young people who are at school. What are some of the things that you wish to advise these young people? When their parents, they are paying their school fees, they are providing, they are teaching them, they are ensuring that they are okay, they provide shelter for them, and they encourage them. What are those key responsibilities of a young person who is in school, as students, in primary, in high school, in colleges? What are some of the things that they need to do for them to realize these results?
You know, for students, you don't talk to them much.
Yes.
Just one word.
All right.
Be you.
Be you.
Be you.
All right.
In the morning, wake up, be you. Pray. If it's praying, pray. If it's going to class, have that self-driven motivation for yourself, not for my best friend. I want to go buy milk. Can we go together? And you're just going because you don't want to lose that friend. You are wasting your time. So just be you. Basically be you. And I was a student just recently. And things happen in high school. Most of them, you get to choose who you want to relate with. You get to choose maybe your friends, the people you even go to bed with. What do you guys talk about? You know, yes. At times you have discussions. Do they relate to your academics? You don't have to talk about academics Monday to Friday. We have on Saturday. You can relax your brain. But how far do you go with that discussion? Right. As a student, you are 18 years and below. How far do you go? What are the things you do at home? You remember just when we had the lockdown and schools were closed, parents complained, we no longer need these students. They should go home. They should go back to school. Yes. We are tired of them. So what are these students really doing? Yes. On your free time? That is the importance of just being yourself. Right. Yeah.
You heard it, folks. Be yourself. The students who are watching, parents, encourage your students. Teachers who are watching, tell them to be who they are. Yeah. We have been talking about this topic for quite some time. It has been really controversial when we have this directive from the government, Daktari. Right now, we have ongoing program that operations 100% transition to high school. We are all aware about that. At the same time, the government really has given a responsibility or a directive that the teachers should not at any given time send the kids home because of lack of payment of school fees. How does that really affect the performance? And I want to get the reaction from all of us so that we understand. And I want to begin with you, Simon, on that.
Thank you so much. Well, there's always a fight between, let me call it a fight, between the government directive, the school administration, and the parents. We don't like paying school fees. Let's say the truth as parents, because it's always painful. We know it's our responsibility, but just because you're taking money from your pocket, it's not fun. That's why when schools open and it's time to go to school, every parent said, no, it's time to go back to school. We've been hustling, we're looking for school fees. People don't like paying school fees. So the government says that, okay, parents, don't worry, kids are not coming home, not paying school fees. Everyone celebrates. But the question is, these kids are supposed to eat, they're supposed to be taught, they need textbooks. Who is supposed to pay for those things?
All right.
To make it even worse, the kids are in a private school. You know that government does not support children who are in private schools. And even if it's a public school, they need to eat. So, well, I believe some of these statements are well meant, but in reality, you find that you cannot be able to run a school with a statement from a single person. Okay, if a cabinet secretary says that let's do this, okay, as parents you have to reason, what are your children eating in school, right? So as much as we enjoy those statements, but also we have a responsibility, because at the end of the day we expect results, we have to pay the school fees. There's no you can be able to run away from that. We have to pay the school fees, or else they just come home. Okay, fine, or let's keep them in school and they don't eat, they don't sleep, they're not taught. The school will go in flames. Okay, so I just think, well, those statements are good statements to be able to hear,
Yes.
but in reality, there are costs that are actually involved. It's like saying that, okay, guys, today you can be able to board matatus, not paying fare.
All right.
Who is feeling that matatu?
The government will do that. Ricky, on the same sentiment, what do you say about it?
Yes. Okay, it's a great initiative to ensure that there is 100% transition from primary colleges and furthering the studies. But the situation is very hard. It has put the institutions in awkward situation, since you get a school that has usually been admitting 100 students. They are being given 300 students in one go. How do you accommodate such a number without prior planning? So it results to, let's say, if a class is supposed to be optimally like 30 to 40 students
All right.
in a class, so you find the students become 80 to 70. There will not be quality education in class. There will not be quality time between the teacher and the learner. So it comes back to results. Performance will be low. So actually, it affects performance.
Okay.
And even if parents pay, for example, let's say the fee has been paid, there'll be start strain on resources, space, and time, interaction time. Especially now that the curriculum is learner-centered, you need to have that time, personal time with every student, which is very impossible. So we cannot implement a curriculum that is supposed to provide quality time with the students, yet at the same time add the number of students without considering the number of teachers and space.
Okay.
like infrastructure.
Okay.
Can I just ask something about the 100% transition?
A quick one. A quick one.
Yeah, just quickly. I think it's a good motive.
All right.
Really, it's a good motive because most of the time, the reason why the government is pushing for 100% transition is because by the time someone reaches Form 4, you are 17 or 18 years. You are mature. Most of the people who drop out of class 8, maybe you finish class 8, you do a KCP and you drop out of school. You're probably underage. Those are the people who are at high risk of getting pregnancies, teenage pregnancies. These are the young boys who like they don't know who they are. But by the time you finish Form 4, which is O level, at least you know who you are. And even with the vocational institutes, at that time, at least you can be able to go somewhere and become something. So I think it's a good thing. And despite the fact that there are these strains in terms of resources, not enough infrastructure, it should be pushed on because it's actually helping the people.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Simon, for that. Daktari, there is a campaign, really, and I know you've been seeing that a lot, these transitions. It has reached a point where even the CS of education really goes into various counties to ensure that there is 100% transition. And the topic of the day, we are talking about these people who have not been able to go to school, that they are being pushed by the government to go to school, the transition for it to work. These students who have left behind, it is not by their choice. It is because their parents cannot afford to pay the school fees, cannot afford even to get the money for the uniform and other stuff that are really needed at that particular time. So what is your reaction on this? What can you say about the government directives and where are we heading to on this thing?
Yeah, thank you so much, Bet. It has been said that when you want to kill the economy of a country
Yes.
completely, you just need to paralyze education.
Okay.
You just paralyze the education system and you finish that kind of country or community or even a home. So it comes down to the individual that if we are not educated, we are doomed. And so as a country, when we are not truly educated, not just learned, but truly educated, we are doomed. And if you would advise me, I would say that I would advise, if I was to advise, I would say that we should begin thinking education matters seriously and try to allow the education sector to be independent. We should allow independence in the education sector. Just like maybe the way we assume that some ministries, for example, are independent. I don't know. Well, we may assume that the Minister of Education, the education sector is actually independent, but it's not.
Right.
You realize that the policies that we are giving, the directives that we are receiving almost every day about schools, about these systems, about everything, about teachers, about parents, about school fee payment. You realize that the government has a good intention, but the problem is political influence that comes in.
Okay.
That politicians now take over. Because they think about the next election. They think about, for me to win the next election, I have to use, for example, to please parents. Because they have the votes. And I make promises that are not going to sustain. That in the next year, when we make the next government, we will make all parents not to pay school fees. We will make like books to be free. Like this to be free. And now, because of our little minds, we tend to believe that the government is now this, we are now going to heaven. That the next government is an heaven. So we are going to vote for them. And realize that when we receive those kind of sentiments, we will always accept and we will always be waiting.
Yes.
When the government is in place, then we demand. We demand and say, yes, you told us the education will be free. We are not going to be paying school fees. We want that. What will they do? They are going to make sure that they fulfill the promise, but also the consequences now are not looked at. We are going to suffer. There is nothing for free. That is what we have to know. Right. There is nothing for free. We should learn to tell people that there is nothing for free. By the way,
yes,
the money we are talking about is free education, is free what, is free, I don't know what is free, medical what. It's not free. It is taxpayers' money.
All right.
It's not free. It's our money.
Yes.
That is in another way. Now, how can you pay my fee and then you raise other things like fuel?
All right.
You see, that's actually a very serious issue.
Yes.
So we are paying for it.
All right.
Let us come to the table and tell ourselves the truth.
Yes.
The government has a good intention, but again, they have to be honest. Let them do what they can. Let them seek advice. And I would even tell the government, please be seeking advice or maybe consult with the principals of the schools. Have them on the table.
Yes.
Talk to them, the owners of schools, the directors of schools. Talk to them before you make a policy.
Yes.
Before you make directives, can you please consult so that we are able to agree on something that is going to be sustainable? I don't want to talk about the CBC at this point because it's a big thing.
Yes.
But
it has been going viral.
it's a big frog that we need to eat. Maybe we can talk about this later, but the truth is, let us be honest.
Yes.
Let us tell ourselves the truth, and let us not make promises that are like false promises.
Thank you, Daktari. Mercy, your thought on that in terms of government directives, 100% transition, is the message really at home in regards to the young people?
First, I want to begin with the 100% transition.
Alright.
I personally support it because we've seen students clear school with mean grades of A, and currently I don't have work. Like if I seek employment from an institution, I attended Nairobi University, and I also passed. I go for an interview, they won't really pick me. Why? First, not because I scored an A. I'm not blaming an A. I'm blaming what I'll be taught at Nairobi University. But someone who will go to RVTTI college, someone who has those basics, those skills. I did camera work. Do you know how to even do the shutter speed? Those stuff, practically. I will eventually pass than that A scorer. I'm not... Please score your A's. Please score your A's, but know what you want.
Right.
So for this transition, I'll grow up, go to school, know how to mold, know how to plumbing, I'll know how to clean. Those are the things I believe if Kenya really takes it home and takes it, like if my child really takes it so serious, that child, when she finishes Form 6 or Form high school, that person will create her own business, his or her own business, which is a good thing than waiting for an employer to give you 10,000 Kenya shillings per month to go home with the current economy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, from what we are gathering, Daktari, and I want you to respond on this as a director of Cador. It seems from our discussion that we have a huge gap, be it from government to school, parents and teachers, students, teachers. What is the Cador doing to ensure that they balance this equation? Daktari.
Yeah, thank you. The Kenya Centers of Academicians and Diverse-Oriented Research, which is Cador, is doing so much in our schools to mentor. We are using mentorship as a tool to ensure that all the team players work together for the school to achieve academic excellence and what I call success culture.
All right.
What we are looking at and lacking is a success culture in our schools. Success culture cannot be achieved by one team. So the Kenya Centers of Academicians is bringing all these people together so that they are able to think together, journey together towards achieving a common goal. And looking at the national goals of education, you realize that the Kenya Centers of Academicians program is putting all these national goals of education together, of course, as aims to assist the parents, the teachers, and the learners to think together.
Okay.
So that we can turn it towards the same direction.
Okay.
We have a problem, of course. The reason why we don't perform in our schools most of the time is because there is one or two groups that are not together,
yes,
that are not working together with the others. Mm-hmm. So teamwork is lacking. As we have said, T, together, E, everyone, A, achieves more. Mm-hmm. Together, everyone achieves more.
Yes.
That is the team.
Right.
So we are we have programs in place as the Kenya Centers of Academicians that mentor the learners, the teachers, and the parents separately. And once in a while, we bring them together so that we are able to make them participate in all school activities. We say participation is the mother of all achievement. If there is one team that is not participating, then we have a problem. So parents also need to be educated, have mentorship programs. There's schools that sometimes blame their parents for not paying school fees or not supporting their school, yet they have not invested their time and money to these parents. Actually, it's the responsibility of the school also to mentor their own parents.
Okay.
But you see, they cannot just mentor them. They need experts, like, for example, Kedor, to come in to support them so that they can support these parents. We sometimes blame our learners. We say these learners cannot listen to any advice. These learners are rude. These learners are poor. These learners came to this school with a low entry behavior. But look, we have schools, we have learners actually who have gone through high school with low entry behavior. But as they go to Form 2, Form 3, they change that entry behavior, they change their results, and they become the best. So we are saying mentorship can play a very key role in helping learners even with low entry behavior by giving them necessary study methods, and they will change their performance. Realize that there is always a reason why somebody is not doing well. When a learner goes to high school, if as a teacher, as a principal of school, or as parents, we ask ourselves, why are these learners not performing? There are always reasons for that. With mentorship, we can change performance in schools. Now, for the leaders, for example, the BOM members, and maybe even sometimes even the education officials, and even the sponsors of the school, Kedor puts these people together, comes to have conferences with them, have workshops with them, so that we can share the school's mission and vision. Sometimes we have sponsors in schools, I mean, with the government officials, with the BOM members. You realize that the challenge with our schools is that no one really says the school belongs to them.
Yes.
The school belongs to the community. It belongs to all of us. And so, really, who owns this school? Does the school belong to parents? Does it belong to the BOM? Does it belong to the government? Does it belong to the church? Or does it belong to the learners? That is the big question. What we need to do is to come together and work together. But a team cannot just work together. They need mentorship. They need a lot of guidance. They need a lot of information. And that is what Kedor is doing to allow the school work together to achieve a success culture.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. for that. I will take that as your parting shot, if you may allow me. Now, Mercy, your parting shot on this as we close this program today.
Well, for me, I think parents should pay school fees. Try as much as best, even if you don't afford it. You knew the problem with parents. Kila mzazi atasema, I don't afford that school fees. But you knew when that child was born. You knew.
Yes.
You have children. You have their plan. Plan for these kids. Plan for them. And parents, advise these children. Talk to them in a positive way. I've paid 50,000 for your school fees. The next time you come home, if you come home with a D+, don't tell them, I'm wasting my money. Don't. Give them positive advice. Let those children school, pay those school fees. And for the children, study and be yourself. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mercy, for that piece of advice to our viewers and parents who are watching far and wide. Ricky, what is your parting shot?
Thank you. We are all investors. Parents, you are investing in our kids. Kedor, we invest in the brain. For a long time, the school has been a partnership of only parents, learners, and teachers, and maybe government. But Kedor, we have come in to bridge the gap that we are talking about. There's a gap, and this gap is what is instilled by mentorship and activities. So we have capacity building for parents, we have mentorship for the learners, and we have retreats and motivation talks for the teachers. So we need to partner, all of us, so that we achieve success. Apart from efficiency in fee payment, there's also that incorporation of experts, so that we great thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Simon, as a director also of AMC, what can you tell the parents? What is your parting shot on this, the whole topic?
Well, thank you so much, Bet. Recently, I saw a picture of iron box and a yacht. If you look at the shape of a iron box and the shape of a yacht, they are similar. If you put the iron box like this and you look at it, and maybe our editors will be able to put that picture on the video. The image of an iron box and the image of a yacht, they're exactly the same.
Okay.
Now, someone was saying that some people, they put the inputs of iron box and expect results of a yacht. Right? Like the input, how much resources they put into a project, it's like the cost of iron box. But the expectations are those of a yacht. It can't always work out like that.
Okay.
If we expect much from our schools, our input should be much.
Okay. Thank you.
Because there's always a cost. There's always a cost. So unless you're willing to go into that cost of supporting what we expect to be able to come out. And also this has to do with the students as well. I want to be able to live without mentioning this. Because every parent is struggling to be able to keep their children in school. The best gift you can be able to give to our parents, now that you're in school and school fees has been paid for, is to be able to produce results.
Okay.
And the future becomes bright. If you're in school and you do your job, you'll be able to pass your exams. We never know about the future, but you know that if the 4 years I was in school, I was able to give my best, produce the best is yet to come, of course.
Okay. Thank you. I will take that, Daktari. It will be unfair for me to close this without asking you to close, to give your thought, the final thought. Now that you've given a real deal on how Kedora has been doing and trying to bridge the gap. Now, what can you tell the parents in a minute, please?
There is the question of the unfortunate reality in our schools, which I said earlier, that parents continue to ignore the schools that are not doing well, while supporting the schools that are, as they expect the schools that are not to perform fast so that they can support. That is a very serious issue that we are expecting the schools that are not doing well to perform fast before we fully pay school fees.
Yes.
And yet the schools that are not doing well are expecting the parents to pay the school fees fast
For them
so
to.
that they do well. Now, we are leaving the schools at the crossroad. No one is supporting them. The child is suffering. So I would say to parents that let us pay the school fees. Let us not wait for these schools that are not doing well to do well fast so that we can pay the school fees. Because when we do that, actually our own children will suffer. If it's your child that is in that school that is not performing, and we are waiting for that school to perform fast so that you can support. Now, you have two children. One is in a performing school. You are paying school fees for this, and you are ignoring that the child that is not performing in a low-performing school. It begins with us parents. Let us pay the school fees totally. Let us pay and support so that the school can be able to have money to support the child who is not doing well, who is actually your problem. Now, thirdly, realize that the schools also should realize that this is a natural problem. People always will expect you to do well fast so that they can support you. So I'm asking schools to work hard. Think of extra ways. Find other ways of doing research and even find mentors to come to your school so that you can do well fast before you are supported. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daktari. I think that was a nice summary of this. Dear viewers, wherever you're watching us from, we have come to the end of the program, and it is my belief that you've learned something. We'll be rolling up more programs such as this for you to understand. But the bottom line is, let us team up. Parents, wherever you are, teachers, students, government, wherever you are, we are one team if we want to achieve the success of our kids. The future belongs to this young one, and we are investing the future right now. Thank you very much. Have a nice time. My name is Philemon Bate. Peace. Thank you, Simon, for coming over.
Before we go,
Okay, you may say.
they need to subscribe, okay?
All right.
To the YouTube channel.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like.
Yes.
Yes, you can also like.
Thank you. I have very, very competent panelists who really wish that you learn more. So subscribe for that channel for you to see more ahead of time. And you can be always ahead of everyone else. Otherwise, peace be with you. Thank you very much, Daktari. Thank you, Mercy, for coming over. Thank you, Ricky.
Yeah.
Yes, and science. May God bless you.
Yes.